Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. As you can tell by the title of this video, it is a tropical update. I haven't done one in over a year. Last time I think I did one was last year about a tropical storm or hurricane. And today I'm making another one because it looks as if things have really escalated in the Atlantic Ocean. If you do remember, Hurricane Hannah did hit the southern tip of Texas. I should have made a video about that, but the reason I didn't was it was pretty quick onset. It went from a possible tropical storm into a pretty, into a hurricane, and that really caught me off guard, and I just really didn't have, I guess, the preparation to make a video. But today I do. The storm is pretty far out, but there are some indications that it could be getting pretty strong. But again, I want to tell you right off the bat, for any weather evacuations, for any weather safety, for any preparedness tips, go to your National Hurricane Center and your weather officials. This YouTube channel here is just to possibly give you a little bit of insight on this, but again, they could provide you much more insight. So go National Hurricane Center, NOAA, and always direct yourself to them. Also, Tropical Tidbits YouTube channel, very good YouTube channel. They do he does an update every day when it's necessary, and that's a much better channel than this about hurricanes. So this is just, if you want to watch, you can. So notice that we have quite a bit of development off this storm. It's really disorganized. But it's definitely a tropical storm. It's Tropical Storm Isaias, and you can see that a lot of it is in the green, and the tops of the clouds are pretty high. But we have this, especially this right here across the northern side of Dominican Republic. We have quite a expansive area of thunderstorms, and it's really starting to erupt. There was a southern flank to it yesterday, which was pretty large as a northern one. This one seems to be falling apart, and really it's going to be taking shape from this cluster right here. And again, I want to emphasize that even if this doesn't become a hurricane, or if it's just a weak hurricane, a strong tropical storm, this is a tropical storm, and those produce lots of rain, heavy wind. You don't have to have a hurricane, or God forbid a major hurricane, to even produce lots of damage. It depends where it hits. If you recall, Sandy was actually not a hurricane by the time it made landfall. It was, I think, a tropical storm. And it caused so much damage because of the populated area hit. So that really isn't a valuable gauge to go by. But let's look at what the National Hurricane has to say. So this is the cone that we see, and they came out with their 5 o'clock update Eastern time. They upgraded it to a potential hurricane by 2 o'clock in the morning Saturday when it reaches the Bahamas. I think those are hurricane warnings set up for all those areas. We have hurricanes across. We have the hurricane possibly going all the way into the Outer Banks, the chances of one. This cone is not the probable impact. This is where the center could go. So the cone could go right into Florida. Still, that's a probability. Or it could also go completely off the coast, and that's the one we're hoping for. But and the impacts, if it were to go across this flank, the impacts would stretch way into portions of the Panhandle. But if it were to go out here, then there'd be lesser impacts. And again, this isn't and this doesn't show the size of the storm either. So there's a bit of misconception around these cones across the world. But again, it's valid to know what they are. Coordinate information: it is located at 19.9 north and 71.2 degrees west. That's the longitude and latitude, and you can see the max sustained wind right now is 60 miles per hour. So it's a moderate tropical storm, but it is slashing right now the Dominican Republic and parts of Haiti. But again, it's expected to strengthen into a hurricane by the time around early Saturday morning. So again, we have a lot of uncertainty with this, and I wish I could tell you more, but unfortunately we just can't. It took a more northern track, really, so that gave it a little bit more time, or that gave it a greater ability to remain its strength, as it was much weaker yesterday. But it kind of went north of Puerto Rico, not really north, but it went north of the Dominican Republic. And if it were to go further to south, right over, it would have, I guess, gotten weaker. But it's still expected to get pretty strong. You can see a hurricane, not a major hurricane, and a major hurricane is anything 110 miles per hour or greater. But I want to show you some of these other cones and show you what we could be looking at. So wind speed probabilities. This map is generally a good one to look at, but again, it gets updated. So in a couple of days this will look completely different. But you can see that 60% chance of a tropical storm force wind as of as of today's forecast, and you can see that's on Florida, and then it decreases the confidence because, we still don't know the exact track. But generally what they're saying is that, this is something that we have to watch out for, and we have to stay caution. So the smart thing to do would be, obviously, be prepared, even if it's not gonna end up happening. It's always better to have a plan, because later on, you never know. I mean, August, September, October, we may see another tropical storm of some sort, and that may also bring a pretty large threat. Obviously, it's a possibility. This hurricane season is forecasted to be above average by the National Hurricane Center. So always, again, better to be safe than sorry. And especially with the pandemic that's going on right now, there's some things are getting more complicated with the relief and supplies at the stores. But notice, you could read through this. I'm not going to read all of this, but basically they're just showing that tropical storm conditions are possible beginning Saturday across Florida. And again, they don't know the exact track, and you can see right here, they say if the forecast track shifts closer to the coast, then it's going to be more impacts. If it's further away, it's going to be less impacts. But everybody should be monitoring that lives along the East Coast, really, because this could prove pretty deadly and dangerous if you're caught off guard. But it's not a horrendous hurricane, really, at this point. It doesn't seem like it'll be getting to a tropical or a category 3 to 4. But again, that could change. At this point, it doesn't seem likely. You can see the National Hurricane Center doesn't think that's going to happen. But here are the warnings. As of in Florida, there's a tropical storm watch. They don't think they probably will issue a hurricane warning or a hurricane watch soon. But as of now, they just have a tropical storm. They just have a tropical storm watch, and you can see that again. There's a wide range in this track. Not the widest we've seen, but it's wide enough to where it could be really large impacts to minimal. I'd like to now look at some of the models, the GFS model, the European, and go through some of these model runs and see what we have in play for this. So if we were to look at the GFS, notice it has it at a 997. There are specific qualifications for millibars of pressure, and that correlates to the category of the hurricane. You can see that this at this point is like a category 1 hurricane, which is it's forecast to be at this point. And you can see it keeps it at 995, and it continues intensifying it. Really the most intense while it's in this little band right here across in this little mitten, if you will, that forms this kind of this picturesque mitten kind of across Georgia, South Carolina, and Florida. It's really not that large of a hurricane. We've seen obviously much larger storms, but it's not really I guess valid. It could be any size and still produce a lot of damage or trouble. And you can see it doesn't get awfully strong in a GFS, but it definitely does impact the coast, which isn't the best case scenario, and it misses Florida with direct impacts or with direct landfall, but the impacts are definitely there. Some rain, some heavy rain. But let's take a look at the European model, as this is another model that we like looking at. You can see it keeps it a bit stronger, but again, the same size, similar track. They're actually in pretty good agreement on this. You can see it takes it through the east, North Carolina, into the East Coast, and it doesn't look like this will be a major hurricane. Category 3 or above, that's really unlikely, but it could definitely be a category 1, possibly category 2 if odds are in its favor. If we were to look at the Canadian model, we could see that, let's go back to this and wait for it to load. It's taking a sweet old time, like always. The models on this computer are very slow. It's not the website's fault, it's my computer's fault. This website's very good. But notice it has it tracking through the Bahamas at a much weaker, it's a weaker storm. The Canadian has it at a much weaker storm, and it takes it further to the west and actually really doesn't do much with it. You can see it kind of just dissolves it across Florida, which would probably be the best case scenario because it's weak and doesn't go further up the East Coast and doesn't affect as many people. But the Canadian probably is not right here, as it's tend to be favoring the GFS and European tracks. I wanted to look at the hurricane models. You can see that they're showing the spaghetti models. A lot of them are showing not impacting Florida. Only one is, directly at least. And then, again, do not use this map to make decisions. Seek official info, please. This is not something that you should base your forecast off. This is when I'm just showing you what the models are thinking. But, again, they have official info, the officials. So definitely seek that. But you can see it takes it, and a lot of them do actually make landfall on the Outer Banks. It's kind of like a sore thumb, and that possibly could be bad news. But also takes it across the East Coast, into across Boston, Cape Cod, into possibly Maine. So that would be definitely an interesting path. Hopefully it doesn't occur. But you can see relatively they are in pretty good agreement. The spread isn't awfully great. If you were to look at the GFS models, you can see a lot of them are also on par, if you will, with each other, and they really start spreading out here. But for now, some of them have have putting it towards Florida, but a lot of them are taking it up north into the Outer Banks and into the New York, Massachusetts, to that main area. And you can see it's still pretty strong, 996 as it goes up here. So definitely Category 1 hurricane. It has potential for Category 1 hurricane. These are the intensity model guidance, what the models think will occur. You can see some take it no stronger than a tropical storm. A few take it into Category 1, and the National Hurricane Center is believing in that, is buying that, because it seems to them that a hurricane seems most likely to develop, and I wouldn't be surprised either. The waters are pretty warm, but notice that it still has the potential to just be a tropical storm, which would be the better case, but it doesn't mean that it's any less dangerous. Seek official info for this. I just wanted to give you a little update on this. Also, what I just like really doing is going on satellite imagery and just looking at the storm. We have here tropical storm Isaias, and you could look at the long wave. There's many options, and they're all really cool. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.